Okay, continuing with the dinim of Tefillin. Okay, Tefillin need what's called guf naki. Guf naki means physically a clean, respectful body. In other words, you're not allowed to pass gas in Tefillin, you're not supposed to burp in Tefillin, and therefore somebody who has a stomach issue, that they have to run to the bathroom, whatever it is, are not obligated to wear Tefillin. I mean, the minig is, if they can, they try to at least put on Tefillin and say Shema at least. But halachically, because it's difficult for them to have this guf naki, so then, it's hard. So then they're not mechuyev in Tefillin. But if somebody is sick, again, if he's such in pain that he can't even think about the Tefillin, he's parted from putting it on. But the minig is they try to put it on as much as they can at least. What? An einin is parted from Tefillin. In fact, in Shulchan Aruch it says an einin on the first day is not allowed to wear Tefillin. Our minig is the first day they put on Tefillin without a bracha, definitely not with a bracha. And the better day, Levaya, they put it on after the funeral. If the Levaya is early in the morning, they put it on after the funeral. Okay, but that's a separate issue.
Somebody like the burial was Motzei Shabbos or Sunday morning.
Yeah, Sunday morning, middle of Shiva, Yemuchiv Mitzvahs. Okay, now at what age is a child obligated to wear tefillin? Now we find an interesting thing. Normally, for chinuch purposes, like kids already from early ages, eat matzah, they'll bench lulav and esrog, they'll eat in the sukkah, they do everything educational. We don't find that 6-year-old kids put on tefillin, or 10-year-old kids for that matter put on tefillin. So technically it says in Shulchan Aruch, but it's not the minig. In Kitzur, you bring down from Shulchan Aruch that the cotton that knows how to keep his body proper, is able, but the din is, we don't, in this Pashat HaMinig, even Kitzur says, the minig is you don't wear tefillin until, in Kitzur says, interesting, 2 or 3 months before Bar Mitzvah, they start wearing tefillin. The Ramah writes, in fact, the kids under Bar Mitzvah don't wear tefillin at all, until Mamish their Bar Mitzvah. The Magen Avraham brings down that they 2 or 3 months that they start wearing tefillin before, and that is pashut to get used to the concept of putting on tefillin. So like in Chabad, the custom is that approximately 2 months before the bar mitzvah, they start wearing tefillin, and the Rebbe wrote that includes Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, because now we start putting Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin on at bar mitzvah. When we grew up, I mentioned this in the past, in our days when we grew up, we didn't wear Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin until we were 18. And even that, then we used to go into the Rebbe for Yechidus, private audience for our birthday. It was like a 30-second Yechidus, literally. And the day when we reached 18, the minute was that we would ask the Rebbe, should we start wearing Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin? And the Rebbe would say yes. Not most of the time the Rebbe said yes. There were very few exceptions that the Rebbe told him on his own to start wearing Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, bar mitzvah a little bit later. But those were exceptional cases. So 1 second. So our meaning is that 2 months before Bar Mitzvah, the kids start wearing Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam the first month without a bracha. And the second month, they already start making a bracha when they put on the tefillin. Now, some poskim write, the one guy brings down, there was a minig that an orphan from his father would start wearing tefillin earlier. And the poskim write, there's no such minig, they don't know where it came from, and there is no such minig. But I was told by people in the shul many years ago that were from Morocco, they said in Morocco the kids used to start wearing tefillin at 11. I don't know if that's true or not true, but the minig today in the world, you don't wear tefillin before, under bar mitzvah, but you start wearing it 2 months in advance, and again, start making a bracha 1 month in advance. The Rebbeim did it before. What they do is their business, and it's not our business. What? Yeah, I know. I know what it says in Ayemim. But what does a couple weeks mean? The minig is, I know what a couple weeks mean. I know what the Rebbe says in Ayemim. The minig is that a month before you start making a bracha. The Rebbe writes Kibeis Del Gimel Chadashim. Kibeis. So it means approximately 2 months. Depends what's going on. Okay. Because 18 is a level of maturity up your halacha, to be a kosher aid, there's a lot of issues with 18 in halacha. So the Pro Minig was 18. That's when we asked the Rebbe about putting on. But then the Rebbe said a famous Sikha and Purim, that the Rebbe said, because it says in Svarim, you're not supposed to put on tefillin. Rabbeinu Tam, we discussed yesterday, what's holier, Rashi or Rabbeinu Tam's. And we said according to Kabbalah, Rabbeinu Tam's is holier. So many Svarim write, some people by the Chassidish Elam, most of them don't put on Rabbeinu Tam's until after they get married. Mamish until when they get married, but they get married at 16 anyway. Doesn't matter. But when they don't put on Rabbeinu Tam's until after they get married and we're Talsin Tefillin. But the Pearl, there is an cheshbon of 18, but again, that's the so it says in Svam, going back to the point. So there is Chassidish Poskim, Mekubalim that write that you shouldn't put on tefillin, Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin bar mitzvah. And the Rebbe at that sikh, I remember when the Rebbe said it, the Rebbe said, I know all those things that it says in the Svarim, and I'm saying that everybody should start wearing Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin at bar mitzvah. It was a big rush then, because every kid in Lubavitch that was over 13 needed Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin the next day. Yeah. There was a story, there were two guys that came from Australia, Baruch Serebrowski, Ruchaim Serebrowski, Oliver Sholem. It was Mula Gerevich and the Baruch Serebrowski. Those two came as bochim to the Rebbe, and they asked the Rebbe about putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, and the Rebbe said, should start putting, one of them had Rabbeinu Tam's, one didn't. So the Baruch Serebrowski asked the Rebbe if he can start wearing Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. The Rebbe said yes, but the Rebbe told him, wait until you come home, because then you'll know, you'll have it there in the city, He says, no, I'm traveling with the other guy, and he has it, so it's okay. So the Rebbe, you want it like that? Okay. The Pearl on the way home, so he started putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, and the way home, it wasn't like today, you take a non-stop flight. The Pearl, they got separated, and he ended up a day without putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin then. Anyway, so there was time the Rebbe said, don't wear it, because to start wearing it and then stopping is worse than not starting to wear it. So once you start Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, it's not like, okay, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Once you start Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, it's like Rashi's tefillin. You have to put it on every single day. So until you know you're going to be able to put it on every day, you don't start putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin until then. Okay. What? So a lot of people do a lot of things they shouldn't be doing. What's one thing you have to do with the next? About the 4 pairs of tefillin, there's 4 pairs of tefillin. There's Rashi Rabbeinu Tam, then there's Ravid and Shmoshe Rabbah. Okay? They're all alluded to in a pasuk, Shmor Torah Moreh Yosher. The Rebbe brings down there's a remes to all 4 pairs of tefillin and tilim. But that it says already, in order to put on Ravid and Shmoshe Rabbah tefillin, you need to be very, very holy. That's time you can't just wear it. In fact, the Rebbe says about himself, he was afraid to put it on himself before he became Rebbe, and his father-in-law told him he should start wearing the 4 pairs of tefillin, and not to make a commotion about it. The previous Rebbe said, I'll order the tefillin that nobody should think it's for you. And the Rebbe would put on discreetly he says it because it says Nukot Tasichas. The Rebbe said, it tells the story that he did it because his father-in-law told him to do it. There are 2 or 3 Chassidim, 2 Chassidim in the Vaad generation, they're not alive anymore. They used to put on the 4 pairs of tefillin every day. But that's not... he put on 4 pairs of tefillin, same ones. Yeah. Because he was a shav, righty or lefty. It's Berke Chain and not Zalman Paris. Not Zalman, not Avram Paris. His son, no, Avram Paris' son. Baruch. In 770, no, he used to do. Rabbi Yosef put on, that's in the previous generation. We're talking about our generation. Okay, anyway. Wearing tefillin chol hamoed is a big argument in halacha if you wear tefillin on chol hamoed or not. It's in the Rishonim, the argument. It's not in the Gemara. In the Rishonim, there's an argument if you wear tefillin on chol hamoed. Now, what's the question if you wear tefillin on chol hamoed? We know tefillin is called an ois, a sign. Kshartum la'ois al yadecha. Why don't we wear tefillin on Shabbos, in Yom Tif? It doesn't say in the Torah you don't wear Shabbos in Yom Tif. The Torah says every day you put on tefillin, Yom Yomima. Why don't we wear tefillin and Shabbos in Yom Tif? So Chazal say, because Shabbos is called an os, ki ois hi beini ubein bnei Yisrael, and therefore because you have the os, the sign of Shabbos, you don't need the sign of tefillin. In other words, by tefillin it says, Kshartum la'ois al yadecha, it's for a sign. You have the sign of Shabbos, you don't need. So that's clear. Shabbos and Yom Tif, you don't wear tefillin because you don't need the os. The question is, what's chol hamoed? Is it chol or is it moed? In other words, is it considered like Yom Tif that it's an os also, so then you don't need tefillin? Or is it not an os because it's not Yom Tif, it's only chol hamoed? So there's a big machlekes in poskim if you wear tefillin chol hamoed. So therefore, many people that do wear tefillin on chol hamoed, now either they don't make a brach on it, or they make a brach and say Baruch Shem. And those that do wear tefillin chol hamoed, they take it off before halal. Because halal is already the Yom Tov Tika halal, so, they take it off before halal. In the Hasidic Eilam, by the way, in Alter Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch, by the way, it implies that you do wear tefillin chol hamoed. But like a lot of other things, but in the Siddur, it's clear that Alter Rebbe writes you don't wear tefillin because he doesn't speak about on chol hamoed taking off tefillin, and that's the pearl. The whole Hasidic world does not wear tefillin chol hamoed. Even Sfardik for sure doesn't wear tefillin chol hamoed. Even the Litvishim, more and more of them are not wearing tefillin chol hamoed, much more than they used to wear tefillin chol hamoed. So you don't make a bracha b'chol. If you do, don't make a bracha. If you do make a bracha, you say Baruch Shem. But all those dinim apply with that. Okay. What? The real Bnei Brakers probably do. I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Most Israeli don't put tefillin on.
They once asked why somebody doesn't say Halal on Yom Ha'atzmaut. So he said, I do what Ben Gurion did. Ben Gurion also didn't say Halal on Yom Ha'atzmaut. He wasn't religious. So he also didn't say Halal on Yom Ha'atzmaut. Okay, last din. Okay, tefillin need to be kosher. In other words, you have to make sure you buy tefillin from a reliable sefer that's taka kosher, and the tefillin 100%, because the bias, the boxes of the tefillin have to be made properly, the straps, everything has to be made 100% kosher. And halachically, it's brought down that if you wear your tefillin every day, except Shabbos, you really don't have to check them. If you wear tefillin, sometime you have to check them twice in 7 years. Leperl, the minig we mentioned by everybody today in Poskim, you have to check your tefillin at least twice in 7 years. Other poskim bring down the matter of Freim, a lot of poskim bring down, the Rebbe encourages a lot of people to do that they should check the tefillin every year. Now, that's if things are normal. If things are, let's say, your tefillin fall on the floor, or the mezuzah falls on the floor, then there's a minig, then you go check it. I had an interesting personal story with myself. When my wife was pregnant with our first kid, I was in New York, so the minig was when your wife became pregnant, you wrote into the Rebbe and asked for a bracha for the pregnancy. A week before that, I just checked my tefillin. A week before I wrote into the Rebbe, I checked my tefillin. So I wrote into the Rebbe, she's pregnant, asking for a bracha. The Rebbe said, "B'dikas tefillin. I should check my tefillin again." So I brought it, and my tefillin were kosher. The first guy told me it's 100% good. So the Rebbe told me to check. I checked it again. So when I brought it to the guy, he knows I just brought it a week before. So he asked me, the Rebbe told you to check it? I said, yeah. So he checked it, and he found, not, God forbid, puzzle, but he found something that needed fixing. So he said to him, you just checked them. You didn't. He said, when the Rebbe tells people to check, they check differently. Because they check differently, so therefore,